Hello and welcome back to the FPL Fan Show, our first live stream in the studio.
Buzzing.
Nacho, how are you?
I'm so good. This is so surreal being back in the studio finally with my best friend FPL Prince.
Touching, mate. So today we're going to be going through all the hot topics for the first game week. You know, looking at the Liverpool fullbacks, Fernandez, all the topics that you guys want covered, and we're going to be revealing our game week one teams.
That's why everyone's here, to be honest, isn't it? But we've got to keep them waiting because there are some seriously important hot topics to kick off this live stream.
Yeah, and obviously if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Really helps us, and let us know in the comments. We've got our phones here, so we're looking at your comments, we're reading them out, going through your questions. That's a good point. We'll be doing questions later in the show as well.
Yes, we'll be answering your questions, so stay tuned for that. We're going to get through as many as possible. And if you do enjoy it, make sure you hit that like button because, of course, YouTube algorithm is our friend in this.
Very true. All right, so let's kick off. Okay, first big topic, the Liverpool fullback. Right,
I'm going to let you pronounce that.
Oh, is it Tomiskas?
Tomiskas, we'll take that because better than anything I would say, 100%.
Okay, so let's look at this. So Andy Robertson is meant to be out for a couple of weeks, okay? So we think Tomiskas is going to play. Now, the Liverpool Echo said that James Milner will be playing this weekend, but we think he's going to be playing midfield. Should we be looking at Tomiskas for our, first team, our game week one team?
Yeah, so I'm going to skip over the pronunciation because we all know I'm terrible at pronunciation.
Awful.
Regular owners, those who know OGs.
Know.
So, yes, at 4 million, it seems like an absolute steal right now, doesn't it, to get into a Liverpool defence? And like I said, we think he's going to be playing left back. I think the big thing that people need to think about is, first and foremost, what kind of strategy you're looking for. So Trent Alexander-Arnold and Salah, I don't think we need to talk about it too much. They should be locked into the majority of teams. I think it's whether you really favour Jota or not. So I think if you want the strategy of going Jota potentially in game week 2 or 3, going for this guy at left back is going to block you out completely. So first and foremost, you need to establish whether you are fond of the Liverpool double up and attack. If you aren't, I think going for a 4 million defender at Liverpool is definitely the best option to go for. Him alongside Trent Alexander-Arnold is, 11.5 million invested in Liverpool defence who are going to look solid this season. I think it's an excellent move. What are your thoughts?
Well, I just want to quickly grab your thoughts on Jota. Because Jota's been, on Twitter, everyone's saying, Jota at the price, I think he's 7.5 million. Liverpool do have great fixtures. So the first question is, do we triple up? Do we double up? And if we do triple up, which are the best 3 to go for?
Yeah.
So if you're picking 3 right now, who would you pick?
Yeah, I think I'm fully on the boat of Trent, Tomiskas and Salah. I like Jota as an asset 100%. If you said to me right now that he's going to play the first 6 fixtures, he's in my side. But still don't know exactly how Klopp is setting up this team, whether he is going for a Mane, Jota, Salah and Firmino rotating, or he's going to play all 4 of them in the team. I just think when you're spending on an asset when he's 7.5 million, I just think you don't want that kind of worry about him getting rotated. With Tomiskas, I think, we know that he's going to be out of action probably after game week 4, but as long as we have that strategy in place, we have that wildcard, we have transfers to move him out, I think just having that idea that you're getting him for a short-term fix is a much better option than playing Jota every week with the worry that he might be on the bench. I think I'm definitely favouring the double up in defence and going Salah.
I think this is very team dependent. If you need a 4 million defender, I think Tomiskas is probably the best shout, because you're probably going to get at least 2 clean sheets with a little bit of attacking potential in the first 4. Just going to stop you there, because we got loads of lovely comments from everyone in the chat. Yes. Thank you so much for writing in, everyone. Got one of our biggest fans, KP, back. He sent us a super chat. Thank you so much, KP. He said, good evening to the FPL fan show. Good evening to you, mate. Hope you're well. Let us know how the team's going. Thank you for joining as ever. And yeah, I hope everyone else as well. It was really lovely seeing all the comments. Someone said we're looking sharp.
Yeah, I know. It's this long sleeve polo. I'm telling you,
believe that.
It's the long sleeve polo.
But thanks for joining, guys. We're loving reading the comments already. Yeah. But yeah, I think, like I said, Tomiskas, do like him. If you need a 4 million defender, he's good. I think Trent and Salah absolutely locked. I'm a bit like you. I'm not actually that keen on Jota, because I think at the start of the season, for me, it's all about playing it safe.
Yeah.
If you have a player that's missing already in the first couple of games, it's just not what you want. Yeah. I think it was play it safe at the start, take more risks towards the end.
Yeah, fully agree. Absolutely agree.
Okay. So another big topic in the community at the minute is Bruno Fernandez. Okay.
Yes.
So I think this is really obvious. So is Bruno Fernandez essential in our FPL teams for game week 1?
Yeah. So I think there is a big case for him not being essential. And the reason being is because captaincy is not really something that you're going to be looking at in the first 6 game weeks. I think 1 game week, he's definitely an option, but the other 5, Salah is your locked captain majority of the time. So the question poses, do you spend 12 million on a player that you're not necessarily going to captain? I still think he's worth bringing in. And I think the reason being is that ownership first and foremost. And secondly, the other asset in Man United is Sancho. We really don't know whether minutes are going to be established over the first few game weeks. I'd much rather have Fernandez in my side and then have the opportunity to downgrade Fernandez into Sancho, rather than take the punt on someone like Sancho and then be clawing, 2.5 million out of my team to get back into Fernandez. I know you're big on Fernandez, aren't you?
Oh, definitely. I think he's a must at the start of the season. I think most people go with the strategy of having 2 big heavy hitters. I think Salah's a must because of the fixtures and penalties and all that. And I think because, look, if Harry Kane was at Man City, we'd all be on him. We definitely would. But he's not there yet. Yeah. And it might be a couple of games. So I think Bruno's got good fixtures. It doesn't matter that you're not going to captain him. Yeah. I think most people have the budget to be able to afford him in the team with other good players. So I think he's a really great option. He'll be in my team. I think he's an absolute yes. I don't really see the upside. It's too risky going without him.
I think if we had that established premium forward right now that we could confidently say for game week 1, like Lukaku or Kane, then I think the conversation is different right now. But I think a lot of people take unnecessary risks at the start of the season. And I think going without Fernandez is one of those. I understand the captaincy debate, but I think Salah and Fernandez double up premium midfield is just a real solid way to start off that season.
Lots of really good comments coming through. And Nuclear Atom saying, when are you going to talk about Dean? Oh, we'll be talking about Everton assets. Don't you worry about that.
Honestly, every time off air, it's just Dean Gaze. It's a joke.
And KP, and not today, mentioning about Greenwood, actually. What's your thoughts on Greenwood? 7.5 million.
So Greenwood's a player that I think could be an unbelievable gem at the start of the season. Of course, Sancho, it's going to take a while to get his minutes under his belt. I can't see him starting straight off the bat. Rashford obviously out injured. So I think Greenwood's definitely getting minutes. I think Cavani will start down the middle. Probably see Greenwood off the right. And I think there's definitely going to be game time in there for him. I think, again, he's just that tricky price point right now where, similar to Jota, it's kind of a ticking time bomb really as when he's going to get rotated. And I think that is something that you really don't want to be worrying about over the opening few game weeks. And also, Man United have okay fixtures, but I wouldn't necessarily say if you go for Fernandez, they're necessarily worth the double up in the attacking positions. I think I'd much more rather go for the double up in one defender, one attacker, and Fernandez wins that battle every day of the week.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
I don't mind Greenwood, but again, it comes back to that. It's risky. I mean, there's a few people saying about, they do have a lot of injuries. I mean, KP was saying, I think Martial just confirmed not fully fit. Obviously, Cavani's out as well. So he is going to get minutes in the first week. So it's not a bad punt, but I think you're booking in a transfer already. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, the minute Sancho can get minutes, I think he's going to be coming straight into this team. You're not spending that sort of money.
Yeah.
And I just think it's a transfer. I do think if you want early differential, he's a great option though.
Yeah. FPL transfer tip says evening legends. Oh, that's very kind.
That is very
Thank
kind.
you, mate. You're a legend.
You were saying legends.
Oh, good. You started already. That's it. Okay, so let's look at another player, which I think is a really interesting one, and that's Son.
Yes.
Now, I find Son really interesting because he's so consistent. I think the thing for me is he's just that little bit too expensive.
Okay.
I think at this point in the season, I like to have like a really balanced team, and I think Son is just that little bit too much money to be able to do that. What's your thoughts on Son?
So I actually don't think he's too expensive in terms of he fully justifies his price. I think the last few seasons have been so consistent and really gone under the radar really in terms of just a general play and the way he gets both, isn't just goals and assists. He offers the lot, which is really important. I think the big thing about Son right now is what's happening with Kane. Does Kane leaving benefit Son? Does it not? I don't really know. I think he will go down that middle if that scenario does happen. I don't see any alternatives really there until they possibly pick up someone like Martinez in the transfer window. So I think Son right now is excellent option to start off the season. However, it's another risk in your team really. If we are going for Salah and Fernandez, do you have that money available to bring in Son and go for a 3 premium midfield? I just don't think it necessarily is worth shaping that team differently. You're going to have to go for real budget picks across the board. But be interesting. Let us know in the comments, guys, if Son is someone that you are considering right now. Maybe even a replacement to Fernandez. I think obviously Man City first game of the season on paper seems tough, but Man City looked a little bit undercooked coming into that Community Shield. Pep's not going to have KDB, Foden. A lot of these players are going to be out, and I think Spurs could be upset them potentially there. Even if it isn't the result, I think the performance might be there, and Son's going to be the main man and talisman there if Kane does go.
Yeah, Son has a good record against Man City as well, actually, so it's worth pointing that out. But yeah, I think Son, in summary, Son is a great finisher, but I think at 10.5 million, it's just that little bit too much. And, if Kane goes, got all that confusion. And also, they might buy a striker, and then he might be back out on the left again. So right now, I think Son is just a bit too confusing. He's a wait and see until their fixtures maybe get better from game week 2 onwards.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Okay, so let's talk about another one of the big hot topics for the start of the new season, and that is the forwards. Because there's so many good cheap forwards, I think. Juicy forwards, honestly, Nacho.
Like Antonio's legs.
Oh, mate. It's like your sister. It just gets me going. Do you know what I mean? Hopefully she'll be joining the live stream soon. Definitely. But yeah, I think there's 4 forwards I actually really like. And picking 3 is really tricky. Okay, so I'm going to ask you, who are the best 3, say, cheap or mid-price forwards to own?
Right, well, I can't believe I'm saying this, but you have absolutely swayed me on one of them, and he is going to be in majority of teams, and I think it's fully justified, and that's Danny Ings. Now, I cannot believe you have done this to me, but 8 million in an Aston Villa side with these fixtures, and I think he's going to be starting right off the bat, isn't he? Now, I know FPL Phillips put in here about Watkins possibly being confirmed now to start game week 1, but I think that's just going to benefit him, really. I think that's just going to make Ings a much better option.
I just love reading all the comments. It's hilarious. Prince, how are you finding life now next to the guy who can brag about being the champions of Europe? Right, Nuclear Atoms, you're getting blocked. That's you've gone out of the way, mate. Oh, no, it's great. It's great. Yeah, Everton looking absolutely dreadful at the start of the season. He sat there as the champions of Europe. I ain't gone too well this year, I have to be honest.
Like I said, this is the hot topic section, so Everton will be after this section.
I love it. Sure. It's coming in already.
Yeah,
I love
it's coming in.
I love it.
Like I said, about the forwards right now, I think Ings is going to be one of the top of the list right now. I think he ticks all those boxes. And I can't believe you've swayed me, but I think it's fully justified right now. It's the one time that he's actually been correct on this show. But I'll go back to the main man right now, and it's going to be Antonio of West Ham. He is the man at 7.5 million that I would still say is going to be a better option than Ings. Just absolutely love him. Underlying stats are always excellent. Last season, always, shots, just generally XG is always excellent. And him being almost a talisman right now in this West Ham side. And I think West Ham are going to be a better side. I think Benrahma had a really good pre-season. That's going to strengthen Antonio in terms of that creative side. So I really do think Antonio at 7.5 million is an excellent pick.
Who's your third one?
Third pick. Okay, so third pick is I like Tony. I do like Tony at Brentford. I think if we're talking about the premiums in midfield, then he does really balance that side and it gives you that opportunity. But I think I'm going to let you talk about Calvert-Lewin right now and whether he is worthwhile coming into this 3.
Yeah, see, okay, so my 3, and I am actually wavering on one, which will slightly surprise you. So yeah, my 3. So number 1, Danny Ings, absolute must. 8 million, lethal finisher, great fixtures. He's fit. When he's fit, he scores. That's all you want in an 8 million asset. Okay, that's locked in. Yeah. All right, number 2, I think it's a little bit more tricky, but I'm going to go for Antonio because, again, when this guy plays, he's so good. West Ham haven't signed a striker yet, which is important, so he should play every game. Yeah. The only worry with Antonio is when the European fixtures start, how is he going to fare, playing every game? It's going to be difficult, but for the start, he's fit. He's a great player. He's worth having in your team. Now, the third one, it does get even more interesting. Okay, so yeah, I do really like Calvert-Lewin. And Calvert-Lewin is currently in my team. Spoilers coming. Okay, so I like Calvert-Lewin because, look, did really well last season. He's a good finisher. Benitez is going to be setting up the whole team to, provide him with more chances. They brought in Townsend, who's a great crosser. They got Gray now. The whole transfer strategy has been about, helping him get more goals. God, nearly got that one out.
Trash, though.
What?
Signings are trash.
They are. They're
trash.
I know. What about signing Sean Longstaff now?
No,
and I'm like,
they're trash.
Yeah,
It's trash.
I know. But the point is, they've still got some really good players there. And Richarlison is actually back.
Yes.
And he has a chance of starting it at Southampton, which is really good for Calvert-Lewin. Now, we need to wait and see if Calvert-Lewin is fit, because he did have a bit of a toe injury. Now, a lot of people ask me about this. I think he will be fit, but if we hear anything, obviously we'll let everyone know. But I think he will be, but we'll wait and see. So I think Calvert-Lewin, because of the fixtures and because, with Benitez there, I think he's a really great option at 8 million. Now, the reason I'm not completely sure is because of Callum Wilson.
Okay, yeah.
Just throwing this one out there. I really like Callum Wilson because, he's the talisman of Newcastle. There's some ridiculous stat where I think he's involved in 42% of Newcastle's goals. Yeah, Callum Wilson.
He's Jimenez levels in terms of involvement.
Honestly, So, Callum Wilson involved in 42% of Newcastle's goals. Things on penalties. He's a great finisher. Again, he's fit and the fixtures are all right. So Callum Wilson is a pretty good shout for your FPL team. And I actually think Calvert-Lewin versus Wilson is close.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what do you think about that?
Yeah, no, I think Callum Wilson, I was shocked to see today that he's actually at like 4 or 5% ownership. I think it would have been a lot more, really, because as you mentioned, talisman theory is there and it is true. And I think in this Newcastle side, they've really done well in the back half of the last season. Obviously brought in a new coach, which has just hidden Steve Bruce's inept ability to perform as a manager. So I think Wilson's doing a really good job in this side, kind of spearheading the attack. Love St. Maximin alongside him. I think he complements him well. And of course, penalties with Callum Wilson. I think he's a great pick. I just think I want players at the start that are trustworthy and excite me a little bit. And I think Ings, Antonio, all these players tick those boxes ahead of Callum Wilson.
We've got some important questions coming in, so I thought I'd just read a couple out. But Abdullah says Wilson or Antonio. I think we'd both go Antonio, wouldn't we?
Yeah, I think Antonio. I think he just tops at all the sort of things you want in the forward.
KP shocked that I might not have Cavalier in my team. Nuclear Atoms asking Prince, any plans for buying a new crown for the new season? Oh, definitely. It's coming out of Nacho's pocket money now.
Yeah, I was going to say I need to find one that fits my head. The old hair.
Okay, and Zaki brings up a good point about talking of forwards. So Tony, now. I'm not that keen on Tony. I know he did fantastic in the Championship, and he was really clinical, but we get this a lot, at 6.5 million. It's cheap, but it's not that cheap. And Brentford in the Premier League is very different to Brentford, in the Premier League sort of thing. So, Championship versus Premier League. God, even I'm struggling tonight. But yeah, so I don't think he's going to do... I think he'll do okay, but I think people's expectations are way up here because he did so well in the Championship. So if you need to balance your team, he's a good option, but I think there's better forwards, and I know they're a little bit more, but I think they'll be worth it.
And I think something that a lot of people are talking about right now, and it's another hot topic we need to talk about, is going to be the formation that you go for. How do you balance your side? And whereas before I was fully on a 3-forward formation, I do think there is definitely an argument to go for a 4.5 million forward and then bring yourself having the likes of Ings and Antonio next to each other. I think then you can play and get those premium forwards that we mentioned. You might be able to get Fernandez, Salah and Son. And the reason being is with that Liverpool left back now offering so much value right now. If you're looking for an early wildcard in the season, you could go for this strategy. And then when the premiums like Lukaku, like Kane start to come to fruition, and likes of Ings, where the fixtures do shift off, then we can go forward for a 3-forward strategy, which I think is usually historically the best way to go forward. But for the start of the season, I think you could go for 2 and then go for them premium midfielders. That's definitely an argument to have.
Yeah, I mean, on formation, I actually really like the defenders and the forwards this year, weirdly. I think the midfielders is actually a lot more tricky.
Yep.
I think there's 3 that are kind of nailed on everyone's teams. Apart from that, it's difficult. And Zuma Boomer, 131, actually says, what about Ben Rama or Buendia? And I think, if you are looking for a cheap midfielder, those are 2 to look at.
Yeah, I think with obviously Buendia's injury over pre-season, I think that's going to be a risky one to start off the season. So if you're looking for one for game week 1, it would definitely be... How do you pronounce it?
Which one?
For
Ben Rama.
Ben Rama. Definitely Ben Rama, 100%. I think he had a really good pre-season. Going to be starting the fixtures at the start of the season, and he plays alongside Antonio, which is always a great pick.
All the chat is waiting for you to try and pronounce. Can you pronounce Omabama? I can't even do it. Omabama Dele?
Right, guys.
Go on, Nacho.
Drum roll, please.
Here we go.
Omabama Dele.
So bad.
Thing is, though, I mean no harm in the way I pronounce this right now. I apologise if that insults anyone. I just can't even pronounce my own name, let alone these names. So that's why I only have players in my team like Salah, like Ings, like 2 kind of syllable names really. In my side.
That's why I was touching going Calvert Lewin. The double barrel, you did struggle with a little bit, didn't you?
Tested me there 100%. So yeah, I think right now that's a good cover of the forwards right now. I think the midfielders we discussed quite well. I want to talk a little bit about Man City. So Man City right now, champions of England. How do people not own Man City assets right now? And I really want to touch on just a few of the players. And if we are going to go to Man City assets, who should we go for? So let's move firstly. Let's talk about the midfielders right now. I think there's a couple up to debate. I think Mahrez, Ferran Torres are 2 that are on kind of everybody's lips. I think Gundogan as well. I think he's 7.5 million. Lost that kind of appeal when he was at 5 or 5.5 million last season. He was an absolute gem. I think first we can cross him off the list right now just because I think he's not really going to be offering the best value right now.
Yeah, I think Man City midfield is very tricky. So little cough there. I think a lot of people, obviously, they like Mahrez. Yeah. I think Mahrez is a reasonably safe pick for the start of the season. I think with Sterling being away at the Euros, I think that means he's definitely going to be eased in. I think Mahrez at the last part of the season, I think he played like 5 of the last 6 Champions League games. He's a really important player for City. Pep loves him. So I don't think he's a bad option at all if you want to punt on one. I actually do quite like Grealish. I do think he's got a reasonable chance of starting probably 3 of the first 5. I think Ferran Torres, like you said, he would have been a good option. But the problem with that, I mean, Kane could be there within game week 2, and then it's just another problem for him as well. Yeah. So I think it's just too difficult, to be honest. I'd say Mahrez at a push. Yeah. I think, and maybe Grealish.
Yeah, I think Mahrez is definitely my pick out of the Man City midfielders right now. I think he's going to offer game time at the start. I think Pep knows what he's getting with him at the start of the season, so I think he's the one to go for. Grealish, I think, is definitely going to get game time. Big thing about him, obviously, he was injured for the last 2 months of last season. England managed his minutes 100%, and obviously training sessions specific to him. We don't really know if he's going to be coming into this season actually fully, match fit. So I think Mahrez is definitely the one to go for, but be willing to come off in pretty early doors, because when Sterling, Grealish, all these players come back into the fold, is going to be a completely different side.
No, definitely. We should probably touch on the Man City defence, actually, because I do think there's some value here. I think Diaz and Stones are players to look at, because I think Diaz was the 5th highest scoring player last year. So 6 million for the 5th highest scoring player, that's not bad at all, is it?
Yeah, I think it's the classic thing right now, isn't it, about clean sheets and nothing else really. So you want a defender that actually offers both ends. Diaz, of course, had his few goals here and there, but I think clean sheets is mainly what you're getting from him at 6 million. I'd argue if you want to go 0.5 less, and the likes of Luke Shaw and this guy's Digne offers a bit of both. Obviously, not the same extent clean sheet wise as Man City, but that's my argument right now. And I think if Stones does establish himself, he's the go-to guy, surely.
I mean, Stones did play quite a lot of the games last season, didn't he? I think at 5.5 million, that's decent value. I think Diaz is probably the one though, because it's like 6 million. Okay, he only got 2 attacking returns last season, but expect him to get more. Grealish is going to be winning more fouls, De Bruyne will be putting more balls in the box, Diaz will be on the end of them. Simple as that.
Simple as that.
So, 6 million, potentially more attacking returns. best defence in the league. Diaz is decent value as a defender in FPL at 6 million.
Yeah.
Okay, so we did. I think everyone's waiting for me to talk about Everton, aren't they?
Yeah, let's just get it done.
Oh, all right. So where do we start? I mean, we've touched on Calvert-Lewin, so I'm not really going to go on that too much. But I think Luca Dean is a really contentious subject at the moment. I think the reason for this is obviously all through pre-season, everyone had Luca Dean. They had him because he's 5.5 million. He's definitely underpriced in my eyes. I don't care what anyone says. But I think where the worry is now coming from is, they had that pre-season friendly against Man United and they lost 4-0.
Yeah.
Which is not great. And obviously, I am, of course, a little bit worried about it. But there's lots of factors here, right? Firstly, it's a pre-season game away to Man United, okay? One of the best teams in the league. It's a pre-season game. It's another thing. Everton did not have a forward on the pitch the whole game. So they were obviously going to get battered, okay? And I think you can look into pre-season too much, okay? You got to remember, Benitez is there. He's not going to be letting them get beat 4-0. No. He's just not that type of manager. I'm pretty certain Everton will get more clean sheets this year. A lot of people asking me about the set pieces. Yeah, I do think Townsend will get a few, but I'm not sure Townsend is going to start every game. Yeah. And when he doesn't, I think Dean will be on the set pieces. I don't think Rodriguez will be there. I think he'll be off. But one thing to look at is I think they are looking at Dwight McNeil as well. Okay. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Dwight McNeil go.
Well, that's just going to benefit Calvert-Lewin again, isn't it?
Definitely. 100%. So again, all the transfers based around Calvert-Lewin. Calvert-Lewin, he does look great. But yeah, I still think Dean's great value. 5.5 million, great fixtures. That's all that you want. I think keep the game simple.
So let's answer the fans right now. Should they have an Everton asset in their team?
The question is not should they have an Everton asset in their team. It's how many.
Oh, I joke this guy. Honestly, end the stream right now. End the stream. Is there something in that drink? Seriously.
No. But to be honest, I mean, Dean is more of a lock, I think, than Calvert-Lewin for me.
Oh well, we got a comment here from James. James has asked, he'd rather have Kufal than Digne for 0.5 million less. And to be honest, James, I have to probably agree there. I think West Ham last season, although they've done well in the Premier League, their clean sheets actually dried up completely. I know it was with the absence of Declan Rice.
Nacho's going to die.
Not making out this house, am I? But I do think that Kufal at 5 million, first and foremost, Kufal versus Cresswell, definitely go for Kufal. And secondly, Kufal versus Digne. I think there's definitely an argument for Digne. You made a good point. But I think Kufal on this West Ham side, with Declan Rice back, Souček, that nice defensive partnership in midfield, I definitely would say at 0.5 million less. I think there's definitely value there. And if it means sacrificing that 0.5 to bring up one of your attacking assets, I think it's definitely justified. So don't be put off by going Digne, Kufal over Digne for sure.
I think you're going to be surprised when we see my team, thanks for what you said. But that's all I'm going to say at this point. But yeah, I think Soufal is a really good option. I think because his attacking numbers last season were so good. And I think I'm right in saying he actually could have got a lot more attacking returns because a lot of the time Antonio was out. So those chances weren't being finished. So if he's fit and they do bring in another striker, I think Soufal, putting those balls in from the right are good. And like I said, Declan Rice, they're a pretty good defensive side. The one thing I would say with West Ham though is, look, they were fantastic last season, but I do think there's going to be a bit of regression this year, especially with Europa League. So I'm not sure we're going to see quite as many clean sheets. So that's,
totally
Soufal, good option, but manage your expectations.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, in West Ham as general, 100% manage your expectations. Moyes done wonders last season.
Someone said Nacho will suffer second season syndrome. Well, he finished 8k last season.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I'll give him that. But I'm above this season.
Yeah, I was going to say, we're going to have a little bit of a gentleman's bet here right now. We need to put some sort of dare in place. Let us know in the comments. If whoever loses between us two, put a dare in there that we need to do, and we will actually do it at the end of the season. And keep your comments coming, guys. And if you are enjoying it, hit that like button, guys. Please hit that like button. We really do appreciate it. And we're coming on to the good stuff in a bit of the team reveals.
All right, so shall we have a look at the team reveals? I think so it's worth saying, guys. So first, before we go into this, that we are going to be re-releasing this part of the video tomorrow for people who haven't seen it live. So obviously, if it comes out, you would have already seen it, but it's for other people as well. But you guys get to see our team reveals first because you are the loyal fans. So you get it first. Okay, so it's time to look at my first team for game week 1. You ready for the team reveal?
Let's do it.
Okay, let's have Why? Okay, we're back. We're back, everyone. I think we're back.
We should be back, guys.
But yeah, we're back. We're back. Apologies about that. Technically, we've done well up to this point. To get to that far. Okay, so yeah, so let's reveal. So my team. Okay, let's reveal it. So we've got Sanchez in goal.
Yep.
Alexander-Arnold, Shaw. We've got. Oh, hang on, it's changing again. 1 second. There we go. Oh, we're getting there. It's all right. Okay. Sanchez, Dean, Alexander-Arnold, Shaw, Soufal, Rafinha, Salah, Fernandez, Calvert-Lewin, Ings, Antonio, and on the bench I've got Foster, Ayling, Gilmore, and Brownhill. Okay. So I've gone really big in defence. Okay, so I've got Dean, Alexander-Arnold, Shaw, Soufal, and Ayling. Okay, what do you think of that first?
Okay, so I am big on goalkeeper pick, Sanchez. I think we've spoken about him all pre-season. I think he's a really nice option. I think there's arguments about going for double Brighton defence, which I think you've avoided right now, and I don't think it's a bad move, really. I think with the few injuries that they've had, I think going for that one Brighton defender or goalkeeper is a real solid strategy. We're not going to talk about Digne right now because I can't bring myself to look at it right now. I'm just looking at your team. We spoke about Shaw. I think Shaw and Trent, they just need to be in those sides, I think, right now. The ownership's massive, but also I think people kind of want to go against the curve sometimes. Really, with this sort of pick right now, with those two players, it's justified. The fixtures are justified. The stats are justified. Solid picks. I'm quite interested in your team right now with Calvert-Lewin. So, with your bench right now, of course, you've got two 4.5 million midfielders. What's your thoughts right now if, one of them comes off? I'm just worried about you right now with the strength and depth in that attacking positions.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, I think my forward line is just the one thing I'd say about this team is it's very safe. Okay, my whole strategy at the start of the season is about playing things safe. It's all about getting off to a good start because, you can take risks at the start of the season, but if you fall down, there's so many people play this game now. It's so hard getting up there. I think you start steady and then you rise up. Okay, so that's why I picked this team. But I think the forward line, it feels very balanced. They're very safe picks in my eyes.
Injury
right?
FC.
Yeah.
If you had to pick the most injury-prone players on the planet, it would be Antonio, Ings, and recently Calvert-Lewin, I think. But Calvert-Lewin, it's harsh on Calvert-Lewin. I'll give you that. If
I put Callum Wilson instead of Calvert-Lewin,
that's a good point.
Then that would have been injury FC.
Point. Yeah.
So it is, but do you know what? I just don't prefer. I'm not that sold on Tony, and I think those three, when they're fit, they do everything you want in a forward. And look, they've all got good fixtures, which is what we want at the start of the season. All right.
So in terms of this team, let's just quickly talk about why you haven't considered Tomiskas right now. 4 million. Is he not a player that you're considering right now? Maybe downgrading Digne or even Kufau and saving yourself $1 million?
I love how of all the players, you were like, which one to downgrade? You were like, should we downgrade Digne? Not bad. No, do you know what? Of course I have considered Tomiskas, but I think it's just like, hang on a second. I have considered him, but it's just it's the formation I'm going to play. So I think there's so much value in defence, and I think I just love the 4.5s as well.
Yep.
Like I really like Ayling, and I know I've gone that bit more on Soufal, but all these defenders are attacking wing backs. And when I pick, defenders, I want that attacking potential as well.
Yep.
Because if you're going to play this strategy and your team concedes, well, it's not the end of the world because you've still got that little bit of attacking hope. So, yeah, I did like Tomiskas, but I think I just prefer this team. And do you know what the problem was? I could not find a mid-priced midfielder. I'm talking 7 million and below that I liked. Before this draft, I actually had like a Robertson draft and I quite liked, but I couldn't find a mid-priced midfielder that I liked. So that's why I've gone big at the back. I've gone big at the back and big. Do you know what? It feels wrong, but the logic is there.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think it's too heavy at the back?
No, I think being at the back has always been a really good strategy. And you've got assets there, like I mentioned, that are, have historically done well. I think Kufau had a great season last year. Digne, like we said, if we go for the assumption with Benitez, I think he's going to be an excellent pick as well. I like the move. I think you really have got a lot of highly owned players there. You have the forward line, I can see all of them being in the top 10 forwards of the season. apart from Calvert-Lewin. And so I do like the team. I like Alien as well as the 4.5 million defender. I think if you need to squeeze some funds, you could go down to 4 million. But of course, then that is going to really make your bench weak there. I think the only thing I would say is you have the opportunity to potentially upgrade that fourth midfielder into somebody who was going to offer a bit more potential, like a Smith Rowe of Arsenal, where you could take that chance there for sure.
I say my last draft did have Smith Rowe.
Yeah.
I did have Smith Rowe, and I do really like him. I think 5.5 could be good, but there was a couple of things that put me off him, and that's what the fixtures. I know the first game is okay, but the game 2 and 3 is not great, and I think the early wildcard will be very appealing.
Yeah,
and also they might buy like another midfielder, so you put those things together, then there's just enough doubt in my head. Look, I might even still go that way. You know, this is not completely final, but I am happy with this team. Interesting feedback from everyone in the chat.
Right,
I knew I was going to get it. Okay. So Nuclear Atom says, why is the Prince being so cowardly? I'm disgusted. Cheers, mate. Appreciate that. Not Today makes a good point. He says, Ismail Sarr. Yeah, I do like Sarr. I take wins. But again, it's just, I still don't feel that confident in him.
Ismail Sarr, I think he's one of the players, very few of the promoted sides, obviously like Pookie, that have actually had a bit of experience in the Premier League, and I think he is going to be a good asset, but I just think he's at that price range right now where I just don't want to, I'd rather go 0.5 up to Rafinha or go straight down to a 4.5 million and invest in other areas. I just don't really think Watford excites me right now.
FPL Transfer Tips does point out another good mid. He said, what about Barnes in that 7 million bracket?
Wow.
Yeah, that's a really good shout.
Keep that a secret. Don't put that on the chat.
Yeah, I keep that quiet. And KP says, Gundogan, yeah, not a bad shout at all. But yeah, I mean, this team, it doesn't feel right because I've gone so big in defence. But I don't know, when you break them down, it's very safe. It's very...
Yeah, but I think, again, being safe at the start of the season is, just don't be losing ground at the start of the season. I think it's a long game, guys. It's a long game. Just get yourself those 50 points first few weeks. I spoke to people who have been 3 million, have finished in the top 10k. Like, you don't make or break your season at the start. But what I would say is it's a lot better just to play it safe, and then you can just start bringing in the differentials as we go along. Early wildcards can help change that team.
And people in the chat, let me know what changes you would make to this team.
Yeah, roast him. Absolutely roast him, please.
Just you wait till your team comes up. But yeah, no, I generally, I'd love to know what your guys' thoughts are. I just want to get an outside perspective. Jameson about Eiling over Veltman. I just don't fancy the Brighton double up. I think one is enough, to be honest.
Yeah. I think one thing that guys worth mentioning is, do you plan transfers going forward? Have you got anything lined up, or are you just going with week by week?
Yeah, week by week. The only thing I've got lined up is that if Kane does go to Man City, I'm bringing him in.
Yeah.
And it probably will be Bruno to go. I think. Maybe Salah. I don't know. Yeah. I think that's the only...
Can't get rid of Salah.
Do you know what I think?
No.
You think Bruno's just more consistent and...
Yeah, but you can't get rid of Salah all season.
No, I think no.
Salah locked in all season. Here it is first.
Yeah, here it is. Okay, so what we're going to do next, guys, we're going to have a look at Nacho's team. But I just need to warn you very briefly, the sound will go for just a couple of seconds because we will have a little technical issue, but it will come back. So obviously for next year, it's our first time doing the live stream in the studio, so there's always going to be a little couple of hiccups. So we're about to have a look at Nacho's team. The sound will go for just a couple of seconds, but it will come back very quickly, so don't worry. All right, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Give it a second.
Yeah. All right then. Yep. So, after that technical difficulty, we are back live on the FPL Fan Show. So, I think that this is my starting team as we speak. Now, of course, there could be changes, so we're just going to put the caveat there right now, but... I'm really liking this team right now. So, as we mentioned, I'm just going to go through a team nice and brief, and then we can go a bit of detail, and you can roast me, and the guys in the chat can roast me, of course. So, Sanchez in goal, and then we have Alexander-Arnold, Shaw, Tomiskas, I believe, and Veltman, and then we have Fernandez, Salah as captain, and Barnes, and then we have Tony, Ings, Antonio. Bench, we got Foster, Rafinha, Brownhill, and Ayling. So... It's worth noting that I have 1 million in the bank as well, so I have a little bit of cash to play with. Few different alternatives to this side. That'd be great to hear some thoughts in the comments. So crack on. Thoughts?
Crack on, mate. Don't worry about that. What is this abomination?
What do you mean?
Honestly,
What do you mean?
It's shocking, mate. Honestly,
Talk to me, what's bad?
Wait, your nan could have done better than this.
What's bad in this? Let me know. Roast it. You can't roast it. It's
No, there is some good
Sunday roast.
There is some good picks in there, to be fair. I'll start with the negatives, and then I'll go on to the positives.
Yeah.
All right? So, the negatives, I think double Brighton in defence, you're asking for trouble.
Okay.
Definitely asking for trouble.
Mm-hmm.
They've lost Ben White. They've had quite a few injuries as well. I just think you're asking for trouble there, to be honest.
So, on that topic, we might as well say that. So, Brighton really do rotate well with Leeds.
Mm-hmm.
So, defensively, everyone should look at this. Veltman and Ayling, you will get Veltman for the first 4 fixtures, but then after those game weeks for the next 4, they rotate really well. So, one has a premium, a real difficult side, one has a really easy game. So, I was mainly looking at rotating defenders, and at 4.5 million, the Brighton and Leeds rotation is actually something that I'm really strong on. And now I agree, double Brighton defence isn't optimal, I know, with the injuries that they've had right now, but I do think that statistically, I like Graham Potter as a manager. I think they're still going to do well this season, but I know what you mean. I just don't really favour other 4.5s.
Abdullah was actually saying it's Shimmercast.
Shimmercast. Okay, I apologise. Shimmercast.
And I think Nuclear Atoms makes a very, very good point where he says Nacho is missing the secret ingredient, a dash of Everton. Everton. Right. He unblocked. He's now the number 1 fan.
No, so Everton right now, Digne, of course, is somebody that I could bring in. With the 1 million in the bank, I could upgrade Veltman into Digne and then have that option in my side for sure. Just something about the Everton team right now is just I don't like the signings right now. I agree that the manager is one that you should be promoting the defensive teams, and I think with the way that they're playing right now, they are going to be looking to just keep clean sheets and just win 1-2-0. They're not going to be winning 4-5-0, so they're going to really build that team on clean sheets. But right now, I just don't really want to use that 1 million, and the reason being right now, and it's worth noting that there is another iteration of this team, and it's something that would be quite interesting to talk about right now, is I have a draft which could potentially have Son in. So with the 1 million in the bank, downgrade Tony into a 4.5 million forward, and then use that cash with the 1 million to upgrade Harvey Barnes, who's 7 million, into Son, who's 10 million. And then you would have yourself 3 premium midfielders with Rafinha and the 2 up front. And that's something right now I'm really considering. But the pros about Harvey Barnes right now, obviously in the Community Shield, look really sharp. And I think that Brendan Rodgers, with the injury to Fofana, is going to go back to that 4 at the back, which is going to really help Harvey Barnes. I think, it's just going to be another player in that attacking 3 that's going to be benefiting. And I think he will, of all the assets apart from Vardy, get the most game time. And we have to remember last season, he was on absolute fire until that injury, which kind of wiped him out for the rest of the season. So I think at 7 million is actually the one to go for in that price bracket. Guaranteed game time, decent fixtures, and a Leicester side that are just continually progressing year on year under Brendan Rodgers.
I do like Barnes, but I think you're also forgetting that Leicester have just bought another forward in Daka.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to fit in Vardy, Daka, Iheanacho. You've got all those midfielders.
Yeah.
Surely there's going to be a little bit of rotation there.
I agree, there's definitely be a rotation there, but I don't see any of those assets the same as Harvey Barnes. Now, the only way I think they will replace him is if they necessarily go for a complete system change during the game. But I think right now, on paper, Harvey Barnes is starting games for sure.
I do actually quite like the Son draft idea.
Yeah.
Because I think Son is so consistent. You know what you're getting from him. And and I like the 4-4-2 formation, actually. Yeah. I think it gives you a nice balance.
Yeah, I think that's something that I'm gearing towards right now. But right now, this is my team. And the main reason is a real nice 15. I think got a nice balance with Leeds. And a lot of people were talking about Leeds assets, really, with the Man United to start off. Is they actually worth going for? But I think with Leeds, they're the sort of team that you're going to want to jump on in game week 4 onwards anyway. And Leeds are a really good side. I think they've done well in the big games last season. And I think you should be put off from the first 4 because you're just going to want to jump on them later on. Get them players in early doors. And they're really good value. Rafinha at 6.5 million is excellent price.
There's lots of comments about no Everton. And
are you literally just writing comments in the chat?
Yeah, did you see me doing
literally just following different versions of FPL prints.
No, I think the Everton thing is really interesting because I do... Bias aside, I do see both sides of the argument. I do think times at Everton are a little bit rough at the moment, and it's because of the financial fair play means they just can't spend money. So they're probably going to have to sell Rodriguez. I think Moise Keane will go, but that will give them money. The thing is, if a player like Dwight McNeil comes in and they get a right back as well, I think they could flourish again. You know, I think honestly,
Okay.
and you got to remember they have the best fixtures
Yes,
of
they do
any
have really
team,
good
the first 10.
fixtures, yeah.
And I think what people are really missing about Everton is they're forgetting that Everton's home fixtures are amazing. Now, they're thinking about last season. Now, last season, when the fans weren't at Everton, they had one of the worst home records in the league. But when the fans are there, and it showed last season, they actually have one of the best records.
Okay. Yep.
So you've got to change your thinking about how they're approaching and how they're going to be at home again.
Yep. Yeah.
So-
I think it's a fair point. I think there's definitely no argument to bring him in.
Yeah.
I just think right now, I think I'm happy having that money in the bank for sure.
Yeah, I think we're kind of in the middle, aren't we?
Yeah,
That's
we're in the
thing.
middle for sure.
Yeah, so guys, what do you think about Nacho's team? What do you think he should do? Okay, KP's Investigar to Leicester just confirmed.
Oh wow, okay,
Wow,
okay.
that's an interesting one.
Yeah, that's a good signing for them. Actually,
That's a
Obviously,
very-
injured
I like-
Fofana.
Yeah.
That rules out Armity as a 4 million defender now. I think that's probably going to rule him out completely.
Yeah.
So I think Ditch Chermy won't be getting game time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good signing for Leicester. I think it would probably be short term in most occasions, but really good season at the back end of last year, and he really proved himself. So he could really establish himself in that team.
Definitely. Nikolai asks an interesting question. He says, in the first 4 or 5 game weeks, who scores the most points, Dean or Tony?
In the opening,
4 to 5 game weeks.
ooh, I'll probably say Dean. Probably say Dean. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Tony, like I said, goals were skewed a little bit last season with penalties. We have to remember that Brentford are going to be like a completely different team in this season. Not going to be one of the big boys. They're going to be obviously really scrapping games. And I think Tony will do well, but I think Dean just has a few more strings to his bow, can get clean sheets, and of course the attacking potential, free kicks, set pieces.
So how settled are you with this team, would you say?
I would say I'm probably about 70% right now, and the main reason is because of Son right now. I think the more I look at it, I think I love the forward lines with the potential and the assets that you have available, but having Son in your side, I think is just a real nice. He's not the differential, but he's a premium asset, proven, and if he does go on a bit of a run, people are going to be bending their teams to get him in, whereas I'm already on him. So that's the other direction I might be going in right now if I veer away from the 3 forwards.
Okay, so that is our teams, and obviously we'll be releasing that video tomorrow as well.
Yeah.
I think we'll have to redo that video, but just after all the sound problems, that'll be fine. But okay, so next we're going to go back to our normal screen, and we're going to just answer your questions. You know, what are your dilemmas going into the first game week? Any questions you want to ask us, whether it's FPL, football,
How to get a beard like this?
Nacho's pronunciations, you just fire away. All right, this is your show. We're here to answer your questions.
Yeah.
So, and obviously 31 people in the chat. Thank you so much for joining. If you haven't already, hit the like button. Make sure you click subscribe. Right. People, send in the questions. Let's do this.
If you send them already in, guys, earlier on, be sure to put them in again. It means that we can just see them, because we probably won't be able to scroll through fully.
I have to definitely give a big shout out to definitely one of our number 1 fans, which is Victor. He's just got back from the beach.
What a joke. Back from the beach.
Oh, that's a bit relaxed, Victor, isn't it?
I got like a jumper on in jeans and back from the beach. What a life.
Naji said, I miss you a lot, guys. We really miss you too.
Yeah, no, we
That's
do
really
appreciate
kind.
it, mate.
Thank you
I'm
so
glad
much.
you spent time to bloody jump on.
Someone said, Nacho, you playing for sharpness? Sorry, James, you're getting blocked as well.
Yes, James is actually local. Yeah,
Oh, is he?
yeah.
What, you told me you got a friend?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, friends.
Yeah, football.
Friends join the stream.
Yes, yeah, that's the big announcement.
Yeah.
Let's get breaking news. Forget Sancho, forget
Yeah.
Varane. Callum plays for Sharpness. That's the one you need to remember right there. I'm probably coming into the game like 4.5 million.
You'd be
Compare
lucky.
myself to like a young Matic, I would say. Young Matic.
Oh, I can't. I'm definitely coming to watch one day.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, let's look at these questions then.
So we got
Okay.
one from Finley's asked, Ings or Wilson with 0.5 million left.
Ings.
Ings, absolutely. Ings is going to guarantee game time. Villa have way better fixtures in terms of, I think they're a better established team right now, and Ings is an absolute serial finisher. So Ings wins that battle 100%.
Yeah, and Nikolai says, excellent content as always, guys. Really enjoying watching your videos. Thank you so much. We
Appreciate it.
really,
Yeah,
really do
do.
appreciate that. I don't know how you pronounce this. Vivamunu.
Yeah.
I'm in Oz, so not much news. Is DCL a starter in round 1, or what are his chances? Okay, so from what I've seen, I think he had like a bit of a toe injury, but it's just a knock. So we don't know yet. If I was saying what I think he'll start, but obviously wait for news.
Yeah,
All right.
100%. Yeah, I agree on that.
So-
It's really important, guys. Another thing as well, when we do transfers, this goes throughout the whole entire season. I'm a big believer that early transfers are only a problem long term. I think if you can hold them off until the last minute, have that transfer in your head planned, and then make it as late as possible, because we get transfer news and press conferences throughout this season.
Now, I really like this comment from Not Today, and I actually think it's really interesting. I've been thinking this myself, which is funny because we put him in our Players to Avoid video. Check that out
yes.
if you haven't already. But Not Today says, Everton fan, which is great, but nothing on Richarlison. Guys high with confidence after the Olympics and finishing season well. Obviously loves his football, demanding to return so quick. So I thought this as well earlier.
Yeah.
So Richarlison has basically been playing all summer.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can look at it like, the guy needs a break. But you can also look at it like the guy is fit and firing, high on confidence. And I think he's going to do much better this season. So I know we put him in our Players to Avoid, but I think it's not a bad shout.
Yeah, I think that really does show the character of the guy. My big thing really is just, he's so enthusiastic about the game. If he comes in undercooked, just completely roasted in terms of fitness, that's my only worry right now. But I agree, if he is coming in, he's excited, he must mean that he's fit. And Rafa, if he starts him, I think, he's an option.
God, okay, let's keep going. I can see a good one coming. Okay, but Darnishistas, I love how I've got to redo the pronunciation. Should I captain Fernandez or Salah?
Salah, and that's probably going for 5 of the next 6 game weeks, 100%.
Yeah.
And then we got Mo Salah, the next comment.
Well, he's getting ready playing for the Liverpool game, but he's joined the FPL fan show.
He got a really good comment, actually. I don't know if you've answered this already, but thoughts on punting on Willock. Newcastle have decent opening fixtures, and he is being ignored.
Very good question. Very good question. Yeah, I think you're right. I think he is being ignored, and he did do so well, at the latter part of last season.
The goal every game for, what was it, 8 fixtures?
Yeah.
So absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, 6 million in the game, I believe.
What he is?
I think it's about 6 million, 6.5 million. Let us know in the chat, guys, how much he exactly is. Apologies, our encyclopedia of football players is sometimes stretched to its limit.
Do you know what? That's a really interesting shout.
It's an absolute
Because I was saying, I can't see many mid-priced midfielders. Willock, 6 million.
No, honestly, 100%. He is an absolute steal. Only worry, it would just be like, well, I was about to say you need to break in, but he was there at the back end of last season, so he obviously is established in that team, and he could easily feature early doors. So I really do like him as a pick. I just think right now with the structure of the teams, people are probably just going to prefer Rafinha.
Yeah, really nice question, that one. Najee says, can you make a rate our teams video? Now, we'd absolutely love to do that. I'm not sure if we're going to get time in this pre-season, but what you can do, if you send a screenshot to our Twitter page or Instagram or even TikTok, we'll make sure that we let you know what we think about your team, definitely, 100%. KP, oh, he's gone big here. He's gone big. Oh, beautiful. God, KP, you're in trouble now. Thank you so much for the super chat, firstly. That's really, really kind. Very, very much appreciated. It says, Nacho needs to pronounce Reguilon, which was what he said, Reguilon. And Prince needs to put his beard on the line if he loses to Nacho come the end of the season.
I love that.
You don't know how. This is the only thing that gets me the women these days. How can I lose that? Imagine I'd literally be full egg. What I could do, I could dye it.
I think dyeing it with glitter would be a great show.
And I tell you what, if I lose, I'll dye it with like glitter in whatever colour and whatever glitter you want, and we'll have to go out in Bristol or Bath.
Okay, I love that. Yeah, I love that.
Oh.
We don't need to worry about a forfeit for me.
Guys, let me know what forfeit Nacho has to do.
You don't have to worry about a forfeit.
All right.
Right, we got one from Nuclear Atoms.
Yeah.
Law supporter, so appreciate the comment. How good can Dele Alli be? He was a 200-point player when he was played all his games previously. Got absolutely roasted for this at the start of the season. Put a few tweets and videos out on TikTok about Dele Alli being an under-the-radar gem. And my heart still hurts about the amount of people that were insulting me. So I'm going to let you have some thoughts first, because it honestly gives you shivers.
Dele Alli, decent value, but I just think it's too risky. He hasn't been good now for at least a season or two. We first even need to seem to starting every game. So Dele Alli is just far too risky pick for me.
Yeah, 100% that. I do think they could be a gem if he does get game time, but yeah, we need to see so much more from him. The Spurs side's so unpredictable right now.
Akaki says Aubameyang or Pepe. I actually really like Pepe.
Yeah.
I think for the money saving as well, I'd definitely go Pepe.
Yeah, Pepe, unbelievable ability, just really isn't having the consistency, but it could be one to look out for sure.
Victor, he says, agree that Mahrez is a better pick instead of Son for the first 2 game weeks. Yes, from game week through, I would have Son for sure. Why can't I send super chats from abroad? But the sentiment is there.
Yeah, the sentiment is there.
So we appreciate it. And we know that you'll be back in a few weeks, hopefully. I hope you're having a lovely time abroad.
Yeah. Don't let us know where it is, because it'll just make us even more sad, honestly, just sat in here. But no, I hope you're having a great time. But I do agree. I think Mahrez for opening 2 is a real nice pick. Obviously, the Norwich fixture in game week 2, which is kind of the appeal for Man City assets right now. But I do think that longer term, Son obviously is just going to outscore Mahrez because of his guaranteed game time. And if Kane goes, he'll probably be on penalties as well, which is just a massive pulling point for him.
All right, let's keep flying through these. So they're coming in thick and fast. Okay, Giordino says, I only have Ings as my striker. What's your thoughts?
No. I think it's very difficult to manoeuvre a season with just one forward, especially Danny Ings, who's got a history of injuries. I think if you've got Danny Ings and you play 2 4.5 million forwards, I think you need something there just to back up your team. And also, you kind of give yourself a rigid formation. I think you need to be a bit fluid at the start of the season. And I think having Danny Ings alongside someone, even just Brentford's Tony, just have that option in your team. I think going with just him is not enough.
Okay. So, do you want to read transfer tips?
Yeah, I've got one for transfer tips. Same dilemma as me. Son plus Veltman in a 4-4-2 or Barnes and Rafinha at a 3-5-2, 1 million back. Son's really tempting. Yeah, that's exactly it right now. It's naturally, if you look at Son versus Barnes in a straight shootout, then Son wins that every day of the week. I just think with that money in the bank, it does give you that potential to manoeuvre the opening game weeks. I'm just looking at players that big players that are going to come into the fray. We've got Lukaku at Chelsea coming in. Of course, we've got Kane coming in. That little bit of cash could just help you manoeuvre your team a little bit. As I mentioned, right now I'm favouring the Harvey Barnes team, just because I think he is a bit of a differential and I think he's going to get game time. And my worry with Son is just how this Spurs side is going to line up at the start of the season. That's my only caveat. I think if Kane was guaranteed game week 1, Son would be on my side.
Nacho, we need to fly through these, mate.
Yep.
That's it, right, okay. So, James Bauer saying Harrison over Willock, surely. So, yeah, do like Harrison a lot, but I think because you've got to have Rafinha, I like Eiling. I think I just don't want to go triple lead straight away. That's the only reason.
Yep. Now you said don't look like Ben Davis. Heard that before. Yeah, 100%.
So does.
Harsh says Mahrez or Son. One is in Pep Roulette and Son has a good record in starting against City.
I prefer Son.
Yeah, Son long term for sure.
Definitely.
Austin said, is it worth having Havertz for the first game week, then go to Son? Probably not. I think Havertz will have a good first game week, but I don't like planning transfers like that because FPL is so unpredictable. You could be stuck with him over the first 6.
Nuclear Atom says, so will Prince end the stream before Nacho brags about winning the Super Cup? Yeah, so so obviously we put the stream tonight, so this is for this reason. We put it on while Chelsea are playing, so he doesn't have to brag about the Super Cup. He has no idea what's going on.
Yeah, no, I'll be putting tweets out, don't worry.
Not today, says Foden beard. Oh yeah, definitely.
Actually, he's got the Foden trim.
You got the Foden trim?
Have I?
Foden's much better than him.
Yeah, 100%.
Nacho Monreal
I
over
think
it.
the Foden trim, yeah. We got one from Najee. Play Ben White or Amati game week 1. So I think the confirmation of Vestergaard to Leicester is ruling out Amati as an option. Pay 0.5 more and go to Ben White, or even the likes of Aylin is a great option of 4.5 million.
Transfer tip says, need the beard to be blue. Got to show the Everton love.
That's
Damn
a great
right,
shout.
Damn right.
KP's asked my views on the Chelsea team, which asset pick. Yeah, okay, we'll do a quick one because we haven't covered Chelsea here. So Chelsea assets to consider. I think Reece James is a nice punt, but I'm a little bit worried because he hasn't had any game time over pre-season. He'll be a great pick over the course of the season. Mendy overpriced at 6 million. And then looking at the midfielders, I think Havertz is going to be excellent, but we need to see how he plays alongside Lukaku. And there's no conversation about Lukaku. When he is announced in FPL, he should be considered by everybody, even if he's 11.5 million. World-class striker, and we set up players, we put Vernon on a plate all season. Like Lukaku will convert. Definitely consider him.
I think Chelsea will do well this year.
Yeah.
So Nuclear Atoms asks, who came up with the sofa and neon FPL sign idea? I want to know who's the real brains behind the operation. So that is actually Ollie, who's off camera. So you guys don't know Ollie yet, but he's the one operating this. You'll see a little hand coming across. So yeah, he's the producer of this show, so doing really great work. Yeah, let us know what you think of the set and the studio and the neon sign. Yeah, what do you guys think? Do you like it?
Yeah, let us know if there's an upgrade from last season. That's the intention, obviously.
Yeah, it's taken a lot of setting up.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and obviously it is worth saying, we have set up a Patreon now, and we try and be as transparent with this as we can. It's not about making money for us. It's more about we've just invested so much into this show.
Yeah.
And we do that because we love it, and we love chatting to you guys, and it's all about just trying to make some of the costs back. That's just being honest.
No, 100%. I think the big part of that right now is that for August, we are effectively giving you the chance to have Patreon for free. It's £1. That gets you into an August Patreon league. The winner takes the entire Patreon pot. But included in that is going to be 3 Q&A podcasts. There's going to be team reveals confirmed, Q&A team reveals on the Friday and Saturdays. And then, of course, there's going to be access to Slack channels where you're just going to have direct conversations with us throughout the week. So for £1, it's great value in August. And I really do recommend checking it out in the bio.
And obviously, we will, no matter what, be doing free content all the time as well.
100%.
So, you know,
it's just that additional content if you want that, for sure.
Definitely.
Right, last few, do you think?
Yeah, last few.
We've got Neddy saying thank you for the effort. Appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in. We were loving getting back on the live streams. Great chance to engage you guys.
We loved it. Honestly.
Nuclear Athens, does pre-season game matter for Leeds assets like Rafinha? No, I don't think so.
I will say don't put too much attention on pre-season. It's always different when it starts.
Nuclear again, thoughts on Abraham if he moves to Arsenal for the deadline? Amazing pick if he is 6.5 million at Arsenal. I think after game week 3 they come into a great run. If he establishes himself as the number 1 striker, he will be in a lot of teams, and I think he'll be a great pick.
Nicola says, do you have a planned wildcard game week? Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think there'll be a lot of early wildcards this year, especially if the Kane transfer goes through, which we think it will. Obviously got Lukaku and obviously that international break. So I think if I was guessing when I was going to do it, it'd probably be around game week 7, game week 8. But I never have a set plan for these things. Because look, if you're doing really well, there's no need to wildcard. Yeah, obviously, if you're having a poor game week or a couple of game weeks, then it's worth it. So team dependent.
Yeah, totally agree. And I think there's some fixture swings. Chelsea game week 7, Man United later on about game week 11, 12. Those could be great times to steer your team towards those if you need to with the wild card.
KP, absolute hero, my man. It says Nacho needs to get his pup instead of himself for one show. If he loses to Prince at the end of the season, what's that? Oh, I'd love that.
Hey, if you want to give me a day off, I'll definitely take it, honestly.
We get more sense from the puppy, to be honest.
Yeah, so, well, it's a proper dog now, it's not cute anymore.
Pronounce players better than him as well. Now he says, who do you think will be the best differential?
Ooh, new best differential in a team.
That's a really good shout. Okay, I'll give one. Damari Gray.
Oh, that's a joke, isn't it? That's an absolute joke.
It's not a joke. Damari Gray at Everton, hear me out, okay? He's cheap at 5.5 million. He did pretty well at Leicester. His attacking stats aren't bad. I think he could do well in the first few game weeks.
It's just an absolutely outrageous claim, isn't it? Yeah. I'm going to say Pepe at Arsenal. I think Arteta could be building something decent at Arsenal. Obviously, don't kill me in there, but I think that he could be a great differential over the course of the season. He'll always be under the radar because of his inconsistency.
All right, I think let's wrap it up there.
Yes.
So, what a first stream. You know, we had one little technical thing. That's pretty good.
That is good, considering the new setup. It's only going to get better as well.
Definitely. So, thank you for joining us, guys. I absolutely love being back, like chatting to you guys, reading the comments, us having a bit of fun.
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
And obviously, any questions about your Gaming One side, send them in.
Yeah, like I said, we'll also be on Twitter. You can follow us on Twitter. Obviously, really do appreciate if you hit subscribe. Like this video as well because it's been going out to everybody else, and we'll be doing our team reveal video for people who have not engaged with this, so be sure to check that out. And really, guys, just thank you for the support. As you mentioned, Patreon is the one to check out for additional content.
Thank you, guys. Good luck for Game Week 1, and we'll be back next week with another live stream.